We have time during dinner. I hope that we'll have more discussion both between us and you, but then also amongst you. So plenty of time for more discussion. I want to, as I promised, very quickly circle back to the sort of, so of course, all right, here I am again with my same problem as before. So I want to thank our panelists again for participating, and yeah, let's move around. So just very, very briefly, we had a lot of debates here about like how much we should tell you about Survey CTO or Dubility, and how much of it would be torture for you and how much of it would be potentially valuable. So we agreed on a very, very, very short overview, and we're happy to talk further. Malik is here. We have a website. We're very happy to talk about Survey CTO day and night. But very briefly, Dubility is a mission-driven company. The idea behind our company, I was involved in technology from practically the age of birth on up. I was a technologist. I left technology and I left business for a long time because I decided that I wanted to pursue more social goals. I was interested in development. I spent 10 years away from technology and business, got 3 degrees in public policy, and started trying to actually do things in the social sector. And I realized that actually technology and business has a place, has a role. And now Dubility is essentially a combination of sort of my social interests and my understanding of economics and my understanding of technology. So we're all about promoting more affordable, reliable, and supported technology that actual humans can use. So as I mentioned earlier, we sort of grew out of a development economics project here in India. We needed to use digital technologies. And really the key thing is there was an IT team to help us, but it just didn't seem like if the field team couldn't manage the technology stuff for themselves, like they wouldn't fix the problems in the survey. So for example, I mean, whenever you try your best, but I mean, when you start launching your survey, you discover you messed up this translation, or this thing is not right, or this option is missing. You discover these things when you're in the field, and you need to be able to adapt, and that's a key thing. And if you've got a technology team 500 kilometers away, it's much more difficult to adapt. And so the goal was to take this technology that was very promising, there were open source options available, and make it both cheap but also accessible and manageable by our team. So Survey CTO is a mobile data collection platform, one of many that's available out there. It's built on a particular open source platform, OpenDataKit, which has become very common and has many different variations in the world. The idea is you design your survey forms, you deploy them, you collect data, you submit the data. We're very big on encryption and data privacy and those things. So we have institutional review boards that govern academic work at the very least. And I know here in India you have very strong institutional review boards, particularly in the public health or medical areas. So encryption is important, data security is important. Our tools, we focus a lot on data quality, which is why we were excited to hold this event. And we're trying to also make data very visible for people and visible more quickly and more easily. So this is a sort of blurry version of Server Console. Just gives you an idea. There's a web interface that you use to manage your survey forms. For each survey form, you can preview the form, you can edit the form. When you edit the form, we're getting closer and closer to SurveyMonkey type of, big button, add a question. What's the type of the question? You say what type. If it's an audio recording or an audit field or something, then you say it's an audit field. So the interface, and this is one of these things where the entire industry, we're moving to easier and easier to use. This is really our form designer, our drag and drop designer is only 3 or 4 months old. Took us a while to develop this. There's another mode that people use in Excel where they use spreadsheets to define their forms. Also, we thought that was quite easy, but as we broadened the base of people who are using the technology, we found, well, Excel isn't easy enough. And so we moved to this drag and drop type interface. We invested a lot in having a web interface for previewing forms, not necessarily because we cared about web surveys, although now we have many users using us for web surveys, but because it was really kind of a pain to constantly be pushing the survey as we're developing and testing it to a device and swiping around and filling out the same survey 300 times in order to test and make sure it's all working properly. It was a lot easier in the web browser on the computer to do this sort of testing and revision. But there's an app, obviously, we have an app that works offline for filling out surveys. We'll have during dinner tonight, I think there'll be a couple of people with these tablets asking you a few questions about your potential interest in future events. They'll be operating offline, filling out surveys using the app, and they'll send all that data. We have a mobile hotspot we'll use to transmit all the data, and then we'll look at that then. So, by the time you guys go home tonight, we'll be looking at, okay, what's the level of interest for these different types of events that we might hold in the future. And there's a desktop application. Many people now download data directly from the website, but if you're encrypting your data, if it's sensitive data, we have a desktop application to make it easy to sync to an external drive and then decrypt on a cold room computer if it's a very, very secure data and you can't view that data on an internet accessible computer. So some of you, if you collect super sensitive data, you'll need to use a desktop app, but we've tried to make it as easy as possible. You say, where's the data coming from? Where's it going to? You hit go, it asks you for your password, and it synchronizes and does whatever it needs to do. So that's basically Survey CTO in brief. I want to thank you all, and I want to hand back to Partvi, who got us started and will move us forward.